Hey players, Iggy Pope here, and I've got a Star Wars Squadrons update for you because there is a Star Wars Squadrons update. Squadrons 2.0 fix is here with a rank reset option, balancing changes and much more. There's actually over 270 plus fixes and tweaks in update 2, so we've got a lot to cover. But first off, I want to mention some additional content. Because in practice mode, they've added additional obstacle courses for players to test their skills. And they've actually added 3 courses to the first one with little names for them. The first one is now named the Tixie Mynock, and joining the Tipsy Mynock, which is a sentence I never thought I'd ever say, is Course 2, Thread the Needle, Sasubo Skimmer, and Bait the Giant, which is a timed run through the debris field whilst under fire from an enemy flagship, which is freaking awesome. An enemy Star Destroyer, or New Republic M75, comes out of hyperspace and starts attacking just you whilst you're flying around it in a really cool little addition to the game. New content like this seems pretty easy to add for the developers, and it is new content, so I hope we get more of this down the line in future updates. And I for one would like to see practice mode have the ability to play with your friends and play on any map. But that's to consider for the future. Let's get into the meat and veg of what we've got here. We'll get into the full details of this update. I'll skim through and let you know what the key details are. And if you really like the content, maybe consider subscribing. Getting into the meat and veg of what people really wanted in Star Wars Squadrons. Starfighters and pilots have also had balancing issues. TIE bombers have been rebalanced. It says TIE bomber default hull decreased to 2000 from 2500. TIE bomber reinforced hull benefit decreased to plus 50% from plus 60%. This of course was a much needed tweak to the game, as TIE bombers were essentially overpowered tank beasts. Everyone grew to absolutely hate TIE bombers and TIE bomber players, and quite rightly so, because they were almost invincible. But now we've got the much needed fix, making them less OP anyway. So if anything, TIE bombers, you're in for a rough ride from now on going forward. So I'm genuinely so happy this update's come out. And there's an entirely new mechanic in fleet battles. It says, to start things off, we've introduced a new mechanic for how matchmaking and lobbies work in our game. Here's the rundown from Dan Kim, our senior systems designer. I highly recommend that you go read through this, because it is a completely different way you can choose for a game to remain ranked despite people leaving. The players actually have to vote. It says the new forfeit system puts control back into the players' hands and allows players to decide which matches are worth fighting until the end and which are worth forfeiting. In either case, players will now be fully rewarded on all sides. Players that defeat opponents through natural play or forfeit will now gain full skill points and progression rewards. Players that lose naturally after a teammate abandons or lose by forfeit will still gain full progression rewards, but only take half the skill point losses. That's pretty fair to me. That sounds good. Meanwhile, players that abandon will be appropriately punished. Abandoning the game after deployment always results in a loss, and leaver penalties have been significantly increased. Putting on my Imperial voice for that. Overall, we hope that these changes will mean that players will play in full games much more often, and when things do go wrong, players will still be properly rewarded for their time and feel more in control of their experience. This is the best thing they could have possibly done, because this bug honestly just put me off playing ranked games completely. I've played a few. I played enough to know that I had the ranking bug. On PS4, I didn't even bother on PC. I played like 3 matches, because no matter how many times I tried, they were matches that weren't getting scored. There was just no point for me other than practice. So this fix is a godsend, essentially. This is how the game should have played when it first came out, and I'm hoping it brings people back. So, if we look at the actual pat notes, in general, ranked fleet battle, dogfight, and co-op fleet battles versus AI will now allow backfill while pilots are waiting in the briefing room hangar. Meaning that games in general should not be as empty as they used to be from players just, accidentally jumping into a game and leaving during the briefing room. Many minor fixes and stability improvements across the entire game. Career and challenges. Fixed an issue where the career best stat was inaccurate. Fixed an issue where the friendship challenge couldn't be claimed after completion. Good. I want a friendship. Along with that, there's many fixes to the controls, especially for HOTAS users. In Dogfight, they've improved spawn points on SLIs to help players feel less separated from the fight when respawning. Good. I don't know about you guys. This one was incredibly obvious. On that game mode, if you got killed, you would then respawn up in space miles away from the battle station within the center of the map. It'd take you a very long time to get back to the action, and players would likely see you coming from a long way off and take you out before you even got there. The spawn points on that map were a bit lame. It reminded me of Battlefront 2 before the squadding system was released, where you had to restart at the start of a map and run all the way back, often getting killed on the way. Also, in fleet battles, they've finally done something to tackle the AI farming issue. It says, in addition to updated lobby system, we've also implemented 2 other notable changes to fleet battles. Improved AI functionality, detailed below, to prevent AI farming issues, and the option to reset your rank during this operation. The latter will help players who got stuck at rank 0 get out of this state, and also let players who have been able to rank normally reset themselves if they wish to, since the rank 0 issue may have unfairly calculated their skill ranking when fighting effective players. Good. Good. We've also included a change to capital ship behaviour to make mosquitoing, the act of hiding under a capital ship and dealing damage into it, less of an issue.
Missile incoming. Not good.
Oh!
I didn't know that was called mosquitoing. Interesting. This will reward the playstyle of players who are audacious bastards like me, flying like proper mavericks. To those who aren't, you're much more likely to be blasted into oblivion. This change really rewards my playstyle, because I'm a child at heart. I will be pretending to be an ace pilot. I'm not going to hover near the power systems and just, drill into it. That's not Star Wars. I'm doing barrel rolls. I'm spinning because it's a good trick. The notes say, we've updated AI Starfighter morale values and positioning to prevent exploitative farming of them in fleet battles. AI Starfighter paths have been repositioned in every map. AI Starfighter morale values have been changed. Gain 1 morale while on attack, gain 4 morale when on defense. Okay, we'll have to see how that one plays out. Capital ship turrets are now much more responsive to changes in player speed. Ooh. Capital ship turrets are now much more deadly against players that are slow and close to capital ships, and less deadly against players that are fast and far. Hot. I cannot wait to test this one out. I won't go over all of the patch notes, but one more thing worth mentioning is fixed an issue where players could end up with a negative skill rating, but also removed silver and gold helmets from players who unlocked them due to this. Thank you for being so understanding. Yeah, as you may or may not know, many players were gifted the silver and gold helmets, only available to top ranking pilots for this season, incorrectly. So I hope you've enjoyed them. Now they've been taken away. Have it. That about does it for the fixes I wanted to mention. Once again, you can find the link in the description. I'm going to be logging onto the game straight away, and I will be back with a stream later tonight. The UK is getting a second lockdown, so I'm going to be much more full-time with my YouTube channel. And for those of you wanting something cool to look at, head on over to the Star Wars Squadrons subreddit, where user TK427AJ has been putting together a LEGO Alphabet Squadron. Very cool indeed, and he's got a Y-Wing and A-Wing on the way. Anyway, I've been Iggy Pope. This video's been a bit of a quick rush jumble, it's not my usual format, but I will be back with a stream later, and finally some loadout videos now that I'm able to actually rank properly and not put off the game. I'll see you guys on the battlefront. Thank you for watching.